Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as we give you an update on the sale around the Glazers. It's probably not what you want to hear, but it is where we are at the moment. It is a Glazer summer and it's certainly one that they'd like to extend into next season. We'll talk about the latest on that. Also, a January transfer target of Erik ten Hag is back in the news this morning. You might remember the right back, Frimpong. German reports say that Man United are back in for him. Well, look, you can't rule anything out. I think there's a lot of people who'd go, oh, I don't want that. We don't need a right back anymore. We've got Wan-Bissaka and we've got Dalot. If we've not learned anything with the goalkeeper, a month ago, we weren't getting a goalkeeper. De Gea was signing a contract. A month later, De Gea's going and we're signing an ONANA. So I would say don't dismiss Frimpong. He was a player that Ten Hag really wanted in January. And, we could end up going back in there. It's just that sort of summer. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about HOJLUND as well. There's a few other bits. But just on ONANA, a lot of people saying probably going to be early next week now. Yeah, probably is. But having said that, here we go. Can happen on a Saturday. It can happen on a Sunday. It's happened before. Donny van der Beek. So, although there is this perception that football clubs stop doing deals over the weekend, not necessarily. A lot of clubs can't afford to take Saturday and Sunday off in a transfer window where you've only got a few weeks left. So most big clubs will be active over the weekend, and it is imminent with ONANA. It's very close with ONANA, as we know. And as much as I think, maybe it will be early next week with the official signing, etc., you could get a here we go at any point in time. So let's wait and see what happens with that. I hope you're all doing well this morning. I'm absolutely fine. Cracking show last night, fully recovered. Absolutely great. It's all about rehydration and plenty of this stuff, which I haven't got much left of. Water. Anyway, it was a cracking show last night. This might not... I don't want to talk about this. But this is a news show. We don't hide away from the topics, whether it's Greenwood, Maguire, whatever. We will talk about anything. And so, in relation to the sale of Manchester United, this is where we are at the moment. Forget all the imminent news. We've got good sources, next few hours, all this, right? Bottom line is, 4 weeks ago, the Qatari bid through Al Thani put in a bid. And that bid was expected to be the bid that was going to win it. Then we had the stock exchange market price went through the roof. Then we had, it's going to happen. The Qatari bid wanted exclusivity so they could deal exclusively with the Glazers and the Rain Group. They didn't get that. And then this week we had Sir Jim Radcliffe saying, look, our deal is still there. We still want to work a way to find a deal. HOJLUND, just the Wish version of Haaland, says Marcus. Yeah. Have you not got a Man City channel? No, you haven't, have you? That's why you're here. Well, mate, do another super chat, sticking your nose into our club. You're more than welcome. It's very telling how many Man City fans watch the United Stand, because in your dreams will you ever create anything like this? Only in your dreams. You haven't got the depth. You haven't got the fan base. We have. The reality is that in relation to... But what you do have is a decent owner. What we have is the Glazers. Let me get back on track. So where we are at is that 4 weeks after the Qatari bid, they're still not owning Manchester United. There are very, very, very clear, defined facts involved in the sale of Manchester United. Joel and Avram want to stay. They still want to stay, and they're trying to find a way to stay by getting the Sir Jim Radcliffe deal through with their siblings and the shareholders. This is what is causing the hold-up and the obstruction. There are people within the club, Glazer siblings, potentially shareholders, who want the Qatari bid. And the fans, we're irrelevant. It doesn't matter what we want. The Glazers are constructing a Glazer summer. This is not Harry Kane. This is not Kim Min-jae. This is not what we would have got if we'd had a full sale. This is not a Qatari transfer window. This is not a full sale transfer window. This is a Glazer transfer window. This is a Glazer transfer window where you will not see players being sold that should be sold because they're listed as assets against the debt and they won't be able to recover that money. This is a Glazer summer where you go for options C, D and E because you can't afford plan A. This is a Glazer summer, and they're banking on another Ten Hag masterclass off a Glazer summer. That's what they're banking on. This is now July the 8th. There is no prospect of a sale at the moment. There is an absolute gridlock on this sale. I would say to you and all these people who keep saying, we're hearing it's Qatar, we're hearing it's going to be Sajim, we're hearing it's going to be soon. Nothing has happened on the sale for 4 weeks. Sajim's bid has been on that table for about 3 months. Qatar's bid been there for 4 weeks. There's a very clear message. The Glazers ain't going for it. One way or another, they're not going for it. They're gridlocked and they're not going for it. If that Qatari bid was so good, they'd have won by now. It's the most simple deal in the world. We're buying all of the club. That's the fee. We've got the money ready. Let's do the deal. They're not doing the deal. And Sir Jim's offer, whatever that is, keep the debt, half the club, that's not going through either. So the concerning thing is that if they wanted to take the Qatari deal, they'd just take it because it's a sale. If they want to take the Sir Jim deal, it's hard because you've got to go through all sorts of wranglings and negotiations. I'm not saying they're pushing. I'm not saying that it's going to end up with Sir Jim. I'm not going to say it's not going to end up with Qatar. But the reality is, this sale has disappeared this week because we've signed Mason Mount and we're going to sign ONANA. And it's the same problem with this fan base that always occurs. I remember speaking to fans about 4 or 5 years ago who really anti-Glazer. And they said, can't be bothered with what goes on social media because Glazers out will trend for most of June. We'll sign a couple of players in July and Glazers out won't be heard of until we lose a game against Liverpool in October. And it's true. And over the last week, there's not really been that much about the sale because we're buying players. And that's how flip-flop fans are. But the reality is, on this sale, the Glazers are looking to stay. And at the moment, they are going to stay. Very, 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 very clear. And I just wanted to, clarify that and put it out there based on the conversations we've had this week, but also where we are today. This sale is not close. You can get Rio saying that on Tuesday or Monday, not Monday night it was. You can get Qatari newspapers saying this and made up Twitter accounts that, change the language and pretend that they've got information. They haven't got information. We're not close to a sale. And at the moment, the Glazers are, and this is the scary headline, because this is true, business as usual. They're recruiting people into the club. A doctor this week. There was somebody who came in as a recruitment person a few weeks ago. They are recruiting people. They are moving ahead with business as usual. They are buying players. Like, this is not, and it's very important to remember, Sir Jim Ratcliffe or Al Thani would have expected to be in the club by the start of May and have big says on who we sign. We are signing players that Sir Jim and Al Thani haven't sanctioned, have got no say on. The Glazers are buying players and sanctioning things as usual. Is that not a big warning sign that this is looking more and more concerning by the week? There is no end game. There is no plan for an end game. There is no urgency for an end game. And actually, are we actually having the wool pulled over our eyes here? I'm not saying they're staying, but are the Glazers acting like people that are trying to sell the club? Or are they just, we're trying to sell the club, let's get a few more years out of it? What is actually going on? Ultimately, they're at gridlock. Ultimately, the two people who've been running the club still want to run the club. And ultimately, here we are, July the 8th, no prospect of a sale, no hint of a sale, no talk of, a sale is imminent. It's, at the end of the day, this is the situation. The Glazers own Manchester United. The Glazers have all the power. The Glazers are continuing with business as usual through a Glazer summer transfer window. And whatever you think about Qatar and whatever you think about Sir Jim, they've been bidding for 6 months and they still haven't got a hold of the club. So, if your car's for sale on the drive for 6 months and 2 people want to buy it, but it's still on your drive, what does that tell you? It tells you that the people who want to buy it aren't giving the person who wants to sell it what they want. And that's where we're at. They want to stay. They want to stay. And I don't know why people pretend that they don't. They clearly want to stay. Certainly Joel and Avram want to stay. If all 6 of them wanted to sell, this would have been done in March. They want to stay. They're trying to find a way to stay. And Man United at the moment is just gridlocked. It's gridlocked at the top. There's competing desires and wants across the shareholders, but more importantly, the Glazers. And while that's gridlocked, we're carrying on as normal. My concern is carrying on as business as usual actually good for this football club? Is what we're doing stepping us forward? Are we looking like a team this summer that's going to compete with Arsenal, let alone Manchester City? Well, the proof will be in the pudding. But I think we're already looking like Erik ten Hag is going to have to pull off a bloody miracle again, because I really am excited about HOJLUND. I'm excited about ONANA. I think Mount's really intriguing, but we've still got Harry Maguire. We've still got Scott McTominay. We've still got Anthony Martial. And we still haven't brought in the players that are really going to move the needle. You know, you bring a Harry Kane in, or a Kim Min-jae. You're bringing two of the best players in their position in the world at the moment into that team. You know, it's static. We're stuck in. I wouldn't say we're stuck in reverse, but I'd say we're stuck in first or second gear. Nicola, welcome to Members Club. And also, why aren't we recklessly on the streets causing carnage, says Vinny. They just keep kicking the can down the road. We will be screwed if Sir Jim gets the club. We only be able to compete with the best with Qatar, says Darren. I hope they get serious health problems, says Tony. I think that might be a little bit too far. But look, some people will say, a few people in the chat are saying, you know what, I'm starting to get frustrated with Qatar. Why don't they just give the Glazers what they want? I've said this a few times. And Mehdi says, why did they put the club up for sale in the first place if they never wanted to sell? Great point that fits in perfectly with what we're talking about Qatar there. I don't think it necessarily, and I was told this weeks ago, probably months ago, it doesn't matter what Qatar offer if the Glazers don't want to sell. And Mehdi says, well, why did they put it up for sale? Because they wanted a Sir Jim. They wanted somebody to offer them enough money to be able to stay. And that is the deal they want to do. Joel and Avram run that club. Joel and Avram don't want to go. It's the siblings who've got nothing to do with the club that want to cash out. Joel and Avram never wanted to go. And the problem is as well, and this is a complete observation, this is not from what I've just been talking about there. The problem is as well, if you don't want to sell something and you go into a summer transfer window where you've just finished third, you've got a good manager, the fan base is behind him, and then you start buying players for that manager. Remember, the Glazers will be sanctioning Mason Mount. They'll be sanctioning the money for ONANA and HOJLUND. You're buying these players. Do you really think that Joel and Avram are going, let's sell next week? They're thinking, we're buying these players. We want to see what they do. You know, I personally think the Glazers, and when I say the Glazers, Joel and Avram, I think what they're doing is they're like, we might just make it. You know, we might just find a way through here because we didn't think we could. But if Erik ten Hag turns out to be another Sir Alex and wins things despite us being in charge, we've got another cash cow to latch onto here. You know, we might be able to do this. We might be able to make this work. And that's the most terrifying thing. I think as soon as this went into the transfer window and they started buying players, I was like, this ain't good. This is not good. Why would they suddenly sell now, knowing that they're buying players that are going to potentially improve us next year? And some might say, well, maybe Qatar have said buy those players. These are not Qatari signings. They're not. You know, Rasmus HOJLUND, ONANA, Mason Mount, these are not Qatari signings. Qatari signings would not be losing Kim Min-jae to Bayern Munich. We would have got Kim Min-jae. If Qatar were involved, and they can't be involved legally anyway, but you never know, you know, go and get that player. That sort of thing might happen, but that's not happening. This is not the Glazers buying players for Qatar. And why would they buy players for Qatar when they want Sir Jim? So these are good. This is a Glazer summer transfer window, and it worries me a lot that we are now conducting lots of business under the Glazers. I'm not, as I say, I'm not saying that we're not going to end up being owned by Qatar. I'm not saying we're going to end up with Sir Jim, but I don't think it's looking as good as it maybe did 2-3 weeks ago, because ultimately that bid has been on the table for 4 weeks and they've not done anything with it. And everybody knows that Qatari bid 4 weeks ago could have been accepted the day after. You know, it's like United giving in to what they want. It will get accepted. You know, a business sale is not a transfer, but if Qatar offer the Glazers the money they want, then surely the Glazers go. But they won't go. And I think the bottom line is, I don't think there's a figure Qatar can give to the Glazers to make them go unless they give them 10 billion, which they're never going to do. I don't actually think 6 billion will make Joel and Avram go. I really don't. 6 billion, is another 100 or 200 million for them. individually, I don't think that will make them go. I think they genuinely think they want to stay, see the Super League, see the new Champions League, see the TV rights deal. They want to stay. And I think that's what they're fighting for. And I think the longer this drags on, the more likely is that they're going to find a way to stay, because they're clearly digging their feet in. And that's where we're... And look, I don't want to tell you that on a Saturday morning, but if you can't figure that one out, then, you know, that's where we are. And I think it's scary when people are putting stuff out there about, Qatar's going to be in charge really, really soon. They might, but let's be honest, why didn't the bid get accepted 4 weeks ago? Why has it not been accepted now? Why is Sir Jim publicly saying he's still in the race? Because I still think it's locked. It's locked. And what Joel and Avram are doing is, just while we're negotiating, let's carry on with business as usual. Ryan, thank you very much for your super chat. And Mark, is it not a majority vote situation for the sale? If only Joel and Avram want to stay, could the other 4 siblings vote it through? Says Chris. No, that's not how it works, mate. It's not. That's not how it will work. They'll have to have unilateral agreements across all 6 of them. You can't be. I've never heard that could happen. Maybe somebody else would answer that, but I don't think that's the case. Should we actually hope Erik ten Hag fails only to get Glazers out, and will it even help? Love the show, says Jacob. And hi Mark, what's your thoughts on Valverde linked to Liverpool? Do we have any chance of getting him? Says Chant. Mate, just listen to the last 10 minutes. We haven't got a chance of signing Valverde because we haven't got a chance of signing Declan Rice. We haven't got a chance of signing Casido. It's a Glazer summer. It's a Glazer summer. We can't have that. Elizabeth, you're about 12 hours too late and you just got yourself blocked. So there you go. I know you think you're being really funny, but I'd had about 4 drinks last night and I'm switched on now. Loving the hoodie, says Brendan. I think we've pinned it in the live chat if you want to get one. We do ship them worldwide. Links in the chat as well for that. Let's move on to some transfer news. As I said at the start of the show, with regards to ONANA, yes, you could get a here we go today or tomorrow. I think Fabrizio is ready to go on that one. But as I understand it, United haven't actually sorted the fee that Inter are happy with at the moment. So it's not here we go yet. He won't be in goal for the game in Oslo next Wednesday. I mean, it's a big week next week, isn't it? We've got a first pre-season game. Funnily enough, a lot of people said that everyone was back in training this week. They're not. The internationals are not back. Luke Shaw's not back. Bruno's not back. Rashford's not back. I don't even care about McTominay and Maguire, but I don't think they're back. Club up for sale in November. In April 2023, news broke about the Premier League streaming rights new deal, about the deal stalling. Coincidence? I think not, says Lee. No, look, I don't want to say this to you, but you know it. The Glazers are leeches on this football club, and if there's any chance of keeping, staying and bleeding it dry anymore, that then they'll 100% do it. And I don't even want to talk about the sale, but the reality is, that the 4 week, it's been 4 weeks, 4 weeks since we had a bid, and there's still nothing happening because they just don't want anything to happen. Manchester Evening News is saying that Manchester United would like to sign another attacker as well as Rasmus HOJLUND. Very difficult. I don't dispute that. I think Erik ten Hag would absolutely love to sign 2 forwards. We need to sign 2 forwards. Mawani has been mentioned, but I think he's more of a of an alternative to Rasmus HOJLUND. I'd be devastated if that Rasmus HOJLUND deal fell through, and so would the player, and so would Ten Hag. But we're Manchester United, anything can happen. Admire the honesty on the United stand on the sale. It's sad but true, says Stuart. Well, you've got to look at it logically, haven't you? And I think people get excited about Mount and ONANA, and it's just the human way, isn't it? You've got a boil on your arse, but then a girl kisses you, or a boy, and you forget about the boil on your arse. And the reality is, it's still there. And I think that with the sale, everyone sort of forgot about it because we've signed a couple of players. But look at the players we've signed, and look at the players we would sign if we had a full sale. You're kidding yourselves. You're being taken out to McDonald's and enjoying it when you could be going out to, fine dining Michelin star restaurant. That's where we should be. We shouldn't be eating in McDonald's, but that's what we're doing. This is not the summer transfer window that we should have had. It's not the summer transfer window that Ten Hag wanted. we're shopping, we're signing good players, but, I've got to say, United want to sign 2 strikers. I mean, bored to write an article on a Saturday. What's that all about? United want to sign 2 strikers. Slow sports news. We haven't replaced Cavani. Martial's not worth anything, and Ronaldo left. We need 3. We all know we need 2 strikers. We're not bloody signing 2 strikers, are we? We're not signing 2 strikers. We need a bloody centre-back first. We need a second midfielder. We can't afford it. We haven't got the money. We can't buy 2 strikers. Where's this money coming from? Again, it's fantasy land. We've got enough amount because we've bought him. We'll have enough for ONANA. And actually, the HOJLUND deal is a little bit difficult because we haven't got loads of money left. And we've got to sell players. And we haven't sold anybody yet. So all this, we want Frimpong. I mean, again, look, that's coming out from Germany that Ten Hag wants Frimpong. Where's the money coming from for Frimpong? Like, where's the money coming from for Amrabat? Where's the money coming from for the centre-back? And, we're getting a second striker. Who are we going to buy? Bloody Solihull Moors, have they got a striker we can buy for 200 grand? I mean, we're Manchester United. The quality of striker we need, we cannot afford. So, look, we all know we need 2 strikers. Erik Ten Hag will absolutely probably want 3 strikers. But, it's the same nonsense, isn't it? I read today in the Manchester Evening News, talking about what a good job Mert has done, and it's his 2nd year as director of football. This is from journalists who apparently know what they're talking about. John Murtaugh's 2nd year as director of football. So what was he doing for the previous 7 years then? Sweeping the car park. We didn't have a director of football before he was given the director of football role, but he was basically doing the role. Solskjaer said it at the time. It's not a massive change. John's basically moving into a position he was already doing. Oh, but he's only been doing the role for two years. It's propaganda. It's a nonsense. And sometimes you need to call the nonsense out. There'll be people this morning thinking we're going to get 2 strikers. Are you not? Look, ultimately, if you're not walking along the path I'm walking you along, then I'll spell it out for you. You're being mugged, and you don't even know it. You're walking down this lovely road with trees and flowers and lollipop clouds and all that, and you're looking around going, "This is great." And what's actually happening is your phone's being nicked, your money's being nicked, you're being mugged. You're being mugged off. Wake up. Wake up. Oh, ONANA, Mount, HOJLUND, Frimpong, another striker, maybe another midfielder. We want a centre-back as well. We're waking up this morning to illogical things. It's illogical. It doesn't make any sense. We want another right-back. We want another striker. 2 days ago, and for the last 6 weeks, financial fair play. Financial fair play. Why do you think they're spinning positives at you? For exactly what I was talking about in the first 10 minutes. The Glazers are looking to stay. They're trying to find a way to stay. They've hit on transfers make people feel positive. Get more transfer stories out. We want 2 strikers, not 1. Well, we won't get 1. They won't remember. This has been going on for years. We are in the midst. We are in the eye of the bullshit storm. We are being thrown loads of things now. We'll be linked to Casido again in a minute. Like, we know the situation because the club have put it out there. Financial fair play, which is not true, but financial fair play is 3 letters to hide the fact that you're incapable of selling players, so you can't buy that many players. So we know that's been put out. That's been put out by The Athletic, the Manchester Evening News. Simon Stone was on about it yesterday. So it's coming from the club, financial fair play, which actually means we know we're rubbish at selling and we haven't got a great budget. This morning, 2 strikers, a right back. Well, hold on a minute. So we haven't got much money and we're not going to sell anybody to, we're going to get 2 strikers now. We're going to get 2 midfielders now. We're going to get a centre back and a right back. What's going on here then? Why have we suddenly gone from real news to bullshit news? And why would that happen? Because you need to spin a positive. We need positivity. Why do you need positivity then? Why do you need positivity if you're selling the club? Conspiracy theory or not, there seems to be a lot of bullshit out there this morning about things that we're never going to do. To whose benefit is that? What benefit is it to get the fan base excited about things that are not going to happen? To distract? to think that the current lot are not doing bad. I mean, look, it might sound fanciful, but the stories about what a good job John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold are doing, could it be that these stories are coming out to make you think things actually aren't that bad? We finished third, we got to 2 cup finals, we're doing well in the transfer window, you know, things aren't that bad. Things aren't that bad. Let's stick with what we've got. It's not actually that bad. Could that be the story? Could that be the theme? Could that be the plan? Both buyers should combine 80-20 Qatar favour. Glazers lose regardless. Fans happy. Everyone happy except 20% Qatar. I just want Glazers gone, says Cads. People remember fast when we get dusted by Man City and other rivals, says John. But it'll be too late then, John. The transfer window will be gone. How many times have we been mugged off in the transfer window? Sancho all summer and we don't get him, you know. My question would be, Sir Jim already has an offer for the Glazers to stay. Surely Sir Jim would have won by now too, says Gary. Whoa, you're not wrong, Gary. You're not wrong, Gary. You're not wrong there at all. However, it doesn't move the story, does it? Because, yeah, Sir Jim's had an offer on the table for a long time. It's not been accepted. Qatar have had a bid on the table for a long time. It's not been accepted. I don't know which way this is going to go, but what I would say is neither bid has been accepted. So neither bid has pleased the Glazers enough to sell. And that will be because there's a division. Joel and Avram want to go the Sir Jim way. The other 4 want to go the Qatari way, and they can't figure out what they want to do. The scary thing is, and I've not heard anybody say this, so listen to this. The scary thing is, if the 4 siblings want to go with Qatar, and Sir Jim has got Avram and Joel, Sir Jim's winning. Because Sir Jim has got the 2 people who actually want to run the club, and Qatar have got the 4 people who just want to sell. Well, as long as Sir Jim can find a way to give the 4 people who want to sell the same as what Qatar's giving them, he's won the race. Whereas Qatar's problem is, how do you convince Joel and Avram who don't want to go? And I think that's the problem. I think Qatar's got the money, and I think they've got the better bid. But they haven't got Joel and Avram. Joel and Avram are the problem. They don't want to sell. They want to stay. And that's why, as much as I don't want him to run the football club, Sir Jim Radcliffe, you can call him an enemy of the fans. I think he is, really, because he won't do a full sale. But he's played a bloody blinder by keeping this going. And as I said at the start of the week, the only reason we haven't had a Qatari summer, the only reason we haven't had a full sale is because Sir Jim Radcliffe did a deal with the Glazers, and now it's been elongated, hasn't it? Dune, thank you very much for gifting a membership, and 12 months a member, great work, Mark, says Paul. Let me just talk about, so look, yeah, the story about 2 strikers, I mean, believe it if you want to. We do need 2 strikers, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I think it's just words. You can't be criticised for saying that United would like to sign 2 strikers. I'm sure Everton would like to sign Erling Haaland. It's true. They're not going to. And I think sometimes you have to be very careful in a transfer window, because what somebody would like isn't necessarily true. Mehdi would probably like to marry Margot Robbie, but she's not going to marry him. And I don't know whether Mehdi's married already. And I don't know whether he'd leave his wife or husband or whatever. I don't know. But the reality is that you can print. I can print this. Ten Hag really wants to sign Kylian Mbappe. Of course he bloody does. We're not signing him. It's not a story. We're not trying to sign him. Can't there be any legal consequences, says Mehdi, for wasting 2 businessmen's time and fooling the fans about a sale? No, because the statement that they put out also mentioned investment. Mark, on the Glazers, don't you think they will sell after the US tour, as it would be embarrassing for them to not be in charge during the tour? Don't think that matters, Alex. I mean, look, the Glazers turn up to cup finals that they... I think they've been to Wembley more times than they've been to Old Trafford, haven't they? Zane says, Mark, score predictions at the Emirates. Also, why did you nick Arsenal's doctor, says Zane. I don't know. I don't really care about your doctor. Those sort of recruitment things really don't move the needle for me. Pardon the pun. Bri, thank you. Welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. In relation to the striker situation then, look, Ten Hag wants to sign 2 strikers. So what? We won't do it. In relation to Frimpong, I think that's really interesting. Plettigol, who's based in Germany, has said that United are still interested in Frimpong. Well, we really wanted Frimpong in January. Then Wan-Bissaka did well, and I think the right back priority was removed. But it's interesting about Frimpong, because if Ten Hag went into this summer with 200 million budget and was like Kane, Mount, Kim Min-jae, Rabiot, that was his 4 targets. And I think everybody knows that that was his summer. Obviously, ONANA was option 5 and moved up because of failings around other things. What you got to remember is that somewhere, probably around 7, is Frimpong and a right back. It's not off the table. Like, Ten Hag will have a list of priorities. And obviously, the top 4 or 5 are the players that we're probably going to sign in relation to position. But Frimpong will be on that list. He will be. That right back will be on the list somewhere. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that does happen. Nicholas says, so Bloomberg and Reuters are wrong. I don't think so. But Nicholas, please, instead of being a pontificating prat, why don't you tell us what Bloomberg and Reuters actually said? Because what one of those people said was that Qatar were getting exclusivity 3 weeks ago. They didn't. So they were wrong. You know, and all those reports are either a week, 2, 3 weeks old. We've not been sold. So Sir Jim Radcliffe said on Wednesday, we're still in the race. There's still a deal there to be done. So I don't know what you're talking about, Nicholas. I mean, look, be positive. I'm not saying that Qatar's not going to win the race, and I'm not saying that Sir Jim is going to win the race. But what I am saying is that if Qatar were going to buy this football club, why have they not bought it already? People will say, well, these things take time. The bid went in 4 weeks ago. What? They've got the money now. There is no reason not to just say, let's get it going. They need to do something behind the scenes that nobody's aware of, that nobody can be told about. Yeah, they're waiting for a full moon in late July where, you know, Saturn is passing Earth. Get with the program. If they want the reason that the deal has not been done is because somebody is restricting that deal, and we all know it. So Bloomberg, Reuters, I don't know, but one of those outlets, I think it was Reuters, were talking about exclusivity 3 weeks ago, which we've never had. Karan, welcome to Members Club. I mean, look, you know what? It's a tough one. It's a tough one because, you know what? Ben Jacobs said this. If you say anything other than Qatar are going to win, there's people in our fan base that will abuse you because they're thick and they don't realise that, you know, we've been talking on this channel for 6 months that we want a full sale. I said it last night. What I'm actually talking about here is the logical situation that we're in, is that if we're being bought by Qatar, why has that bid not been accepted 4 weeks ago? And why is Sir Jim 3 days ago still saying he's in the race and there's a deal there to be done? Because if you want to get angry with anybody, get angry with the people that you should be bloody angry with all along. Joel and Avram will not sell the club. They want to stay. They're wriggling around, trying every little reason they can. And that is why the sale's not been done. Maybe they're trying to push the price up again. Maybe they're trying to find a way to work with Sir Jim. But if you can't see that, and you can't see that's why there's been a delay, well, I've got nothing more to say to you. Because there is nothing you can tell anybody about why this deal's not been done, other than the Glazers. And also, let's be honest, it's July, and we're in a fucking Glazer transfer window. And we never should have been in it. And why are we? Because of the Glazers. And if you can't figure that out, and you want to get all petty and aggressive on your keyboard on a Saturday morning, I'd say go out for a walk. Because you're talking to people, predominantly in the chat, and certainly me, who openly are not scared to say, full sale, Glazers out, that's my passion, that's what I want, that's what I've said for years, and if we want to be successful, we need super wealth. So figure it out. The only option I want is Qatar, because it's the only one that gives a full sale, gets the Glazers out, and gives us super wealth. I'm fully behind that horse. But why are we not there is what we're talking about. It's not what I want. It's about an observation about why we're not there. And we're not there because the Glazers are carrying on with business as usual, which is terrifying. They're buying players, which is terrifying. And they're not accepting bids from people who are there to buy the club. And I think they're just trying to carry on business as usual. But it'll be very interesting in the Wolves game because the protests won't disappear. So, as I said, they've got to make a decision before we play Wolves because we'll just go into another season of massive protests. If Frimpong comes, that'd be the end of Wan-Bissaka. The third player, Ten Hag snake, says SD. Look, I don't think we're going to sign Frimpong. I really don't. But you know what? All I'm going to say is never say never because we expected De Gea to stay. He's not. And Onana's coming in. And what Ten Hag has shown is that he can be ruthless. And many people will say, well, we don't need Frimpong, but Ten Hag really wants him. And it's just about where he is on the priority list. Has he disappeared completely? He was high in January. Could he come back in now? We'll have to see. Glazers out, says Locke. And look, Wan-Bissaka would be an easy sale. I don't know why you'd do it. I'm very happy with Delo and Wan-Bissaka, but you know, you'd have to sell Wan-Bissaka if you wanted Frimpong, and that would be massively surprising. But look, we'll have to keep an eye on it. And look, a few people in the chat are quite rightly saying it's a shame that Ten Hag's so ruthless with players that don't deserve to be treated like that, like Wan-Bissaka or De Gea, and Maguire's still there. But, you know, football's a funny old game, isn't it? You know, Phil Jones survived for years at United and it was illogical where other players were kicked out. And, you know, Maguire could manage to do it as well. I don't know. But you know, in relation to Harry Maguire, how does he survive? Because the Glazers are in charge. You know, he's listed against the debt. He's an £80 million asset on 200 grand a week. When you're in that much debt and you've got an asset listed against that debt, you're never going to get rid of that asset. It's a financial decision. It's not a football decision. You should go and learn about how Man United pay their debts and how they list assets against their debt. It's an education in itself. Harry Maguire is listed, like many other players, as, you know, an asset that we pay debt repayments against. It's not as easy to say, let Harry Maguire go for 30 million and give him 10 million in wages. That's the sort of thing Barcelona do, or Real Madrid do, or proper football clubs do. They get rid of players that aren't good enough to clear up space in the squad. But when you're in as much debt as we are, it's not as easy. That's why we're really crap at selling. Frimpong at 35 million is a must. People forget how shit our right backs have been for so long. We know full well they both will never reach elite level, says Casper. Well, Casper, I think it's an interesting point. You know, I don't think it's as hip as the goalkeeping analysis videos, but I wouldn't be surprised if next season, you know, if ONANA comes in and he does well, you move towards the next weakness, don't you? Where's the next weakness? You know, we're not winning the league next year, so there will be weaknesses in that team. De Gea's had it for a year. That's going to change. The striking situation's had it. That's going to change. Where's the next weakness in that team? Where's the next player or position that people are going to start going, this is where it's going wrong. Look, the ball goes there and it breaks down. They're out of position. They're not doing it like this player does. Look at this player here and look at this player for United. You know, maybe people will start looking at the right back. Maybe people will start looking at another position. But maybe that's why Ten Hag's looking at the right back. He has been looking at that right back position all season. We were in for Frimpong back in before the World Cup, so October. We didn't go in January because it was like, let's stick with Wan-Bissaka and Delo till the end of the season. And he might do that for another season. But I do think it's very obvious, whatever you think about our right backs, they don't play the way that Ten Hag wants completely. If the Glazers agreed to spend £300 million per window, would you be happy, says Films Reviewed? Well, would you be happy to be paid off? Basically bought by bad people? No, I wouldn't. Glazers out, Mark. Wish this nearly a year ago was over. We need to get back on top again. We need owners who respect our club and do well again, says Daniel. Right wing will be next. Well, right wing is a position that I tell you what, you'd be a brave person to start having a go at right back, because that's at right wing, because that is actually a Ten Hag signing. Anthony is a Ten Hag signing. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Let's see what today brings. You're all bloody legends as usual. Not an easy show to talk about, but I think it needs to be spoken about on what is going on with United. A lot of our fans at the moment are just falling in love with transfers and forgetting that we're still owned by the Glazers and it's business as usual. Why is it business as usual? Because Joel and Avram want to stay, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Speak to you later. Thanks for watching. Take care. And if you want to get one of these links in the live chat, make sure you smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Happy birthday to Alfie as well. He's 13 today. That's a message from Ryan. Big shout out to Alfie. Happy birthday. Glazers' greed will be the reason Qatar wins. Other siblings won't sell their shares when that means they get less. It's a tug of war with 4 rats pulling against 2, says Q. Speak to you later. Thanks for watching.